Okay, but for real, let's sit down and pick apart the brand new Monster Hunter Wilds Hunting Horn trailer because there's a lot to unpack. So short intro, let's jump right into it. First up, let's talk about the new bone armor and fresh hunting horn we see right out the gate. It's definitely not the classic bone horn because we actually get to see that later in the trailer, and it's certainly not the iron hunting horn, so I think there will be a third weapon tree similar to how we had the Kimura weapon trees in Rise. Now even in the first 5 seconds, the attacks are already getting interesting. We can immediately see that we are back to a world style of hunting horn where we have to cue notes and perform slower, longer commitment recitals, so let's all sing our praises for that. I know Rise Hunting Horn was polarizing to say the least in the community, but I have missed World Hunting Horn, and I'm so glad we're back to it. I do want to quickly call attention to the flash that happens at about the 5-second mark where the hunter is performing a recital, because this will be important for the next sequence. While fighting Balahara, we can see during the draw attack that the horn is also lighting up. The hunter performs a right recital which also ends up with the horn facing the monster, a very welcome change, and the horn is flashing again, while the hunter is adding in attacks between the performances. We really don't know if what we are seeing are multiple R2 inputs or face button inputs because we see the horn will flash from either, but nevertheless, the added attacks and pressure we can now have while stuck in our highest commitment moves is such a huge change for the hunting horn. I feel like this is akin to Freedom Unite's performance mode, except not in a bad way. Next we get to see the echo bubbles are returning, but not quite as we remember them. We can see the hunter performing a special vertical recital to drop the bubble, and then when performing a recital they trigger additional damage on the monster for each song played. This is like a weird amalgamation of Beat of Resonance mixed with Silpine Shockwave from Rise, where we have AoEs that give us additional damage and stun. Additionally, we can place down multiple at the same time, with 3 being placed down against the Balahara. We don't have any UI in the footage, so I don't know if placing a bubble is a special resource we have to spend like in Rise, or if it's a special song like in World. But I'm going to assume that this means we'll be back to World style of song lists, where we have self-improvement, a set of songs, and then our special echo bubbles, or 2, where there'll be multiple kinds of bubbles we can place down. Again, we don't get shown any UI in this clip, so sadly all we can do is speculate until we get more gameplay footage from Gamescom. Next we get to see the focus mode and focus attack, and that's right, Earthshaker is back, except in a new form. We have this new multi-hit attack that is roughly the same commitment time as in Rise, but with damage happening over 6 hits rather than 2. Now I'm a bit cautious here, because there's a reason it was nicknamed Cart Shaker in Sunbreak, and while I'm happy to see it return, I worry that the commitment time and damage now being spread out over multiple hits will cause even more problems than in Sunbreak. We don't yet know how focus attacks work and if they are guaranteed to hit or if you can be flinched out of them, so I will stay optimistic for now, but my mind immediately jumps to this being a huge efficiency and risk trap, especially against harder, faster hitting monsters. After this we get to see what looks to be some sort of weird mounting attack finisher, similar to Iceborne's Tenderize attack. Now it's not a one-to-one animation copy, but it does follow the same handstand and jump off concept. I'm not sure if this is a mounting finisher, but we saw something similar with the Insect Glaive footage, where they mounted on a monster and performed a special attack. One thing to note is that we have seen fairly obvious clash attacks on the Greatsword, Gunlance, and Heavy Bowgun, but not the Insect Glaive or Hunting Horn. And on the website, they specifically denote weapons that can guard or not. So I think perhaps that the clash is tied to weapons' ability to guard, and the ones that can't get a different kind of attack rather than a clash. Again, this is all speculation, so I hope we get to learn more with other weapon trailers. Now here's a surprise. The Generations Ultimate Sonic Smash Hunter art makes a return. And if we slow it down, it looks like the shockwave travels through the monster and at range, so perhaps we'll be getting some ranged options for Hunting Horn. I'm not really sure how we're performing these special attacks, but what is interesting is we swap to the Bone Horn, and the only reason I can think we're swapping to a different weapon is because we have weapon-specific attacks. Now, we don't get to see the start of this attack, but what I think is happening is this is a secondary focus attack rather than the Cart Shaker 2.0. So not only do we think different horns will have different bubbles, but perhaps they'll have different focus attacks as well. And finally, we get a look at a new back hop move followed by a massive hit. If this move includes iframes or acts as some sort of counter, it could be a game changer for Hunting Horn's kit, especially since Hunting Horn didn't have a counter in Sunbreak. Really anything to help us dodge or reposition with all of our high commitment and slow animation attacks, especially if the monsters will be as fast and aggressive as they were in Sunbreak, will be a huge improvement for Wild's Hunting Horn. So that's a wrap on my breakdown of the Monster Hunter Wilds Hunting Horn trailer. There's so much to be excited about, and I can't wait to see more gameplay at Gamescom. We will actually be at Gamescom Germany to record and stream footage for y'all, so make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the upcoming footage. Also, let us know what weapons you want to see us try at Gamescom.